This week on the Organized Life podcast.
Is there something here in this house that you have a particular affection for, that reminds you of something, that gives you a good memory? What is it? Why? So that
Yeah,
I can make sure that I
that
leave
you
it
get that.
for
Yeah,
you. Okay,
yeah.
and I said this, and my mother was so emotionally attached to her stuff, she couldn't do that. So when it came time to move, it was just too overwhelming for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very difficult. People don't understand this unless they've been around this block 3, 4, 5 times.
Hey, and welcome to the Organized Life podcast, where we are creating a movement with powerful organizing strategies and systems that save you space, time, energy, and money. I am your host, TakillaRene, the life organizing strategist, professional organizer, and the owner of Xtreme Audacity Organized Solutions. And you guys know I am always so excited to be with you on this journey of creating the organized life. It's not just about getting your space in order. It's about creating a life full of peace, productivity that pushes you towards purpose. And today I am joined by none other than Monica Kaufman. Monica, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So excited to have you. Monica is a certified financial planner with more than 20 years of experience working with professionals and families. So, Monica, would you tell all the Organized Life listeners a little bit more about you?
Okay, so I'm a mom of two, and they're in their 20s. So they're almost launched. Well, one is launched, one is not. I am a I'm a dog mom. I have two dogs, two rescues. I have no idea what the heck they are. I call them Americans because we're all mixes.
Mm.
Um, but really, what I am professionally is a certified financial planner. And what I've realized is the difference between people who wind up achieving that financial freedom point, where whether they work or whether they don't, it doesn't matter in terms of how they live their lives financially, um, is really mindset. It's not just income. So, income isn't wealth, and you have to build wealth. And the other piece that I've realized, and I've known this for 20 years, is that most Americans don't know how to use the financial system that they're in. So they don't know how to use it. They don't know how to organize it. They're overwhelmed with it. There's fear involved with it. And then sometimes there's just this resignation, hey, I can't do it. And the reality is, yes, you can. And it
Mm,
can be learned. And I've seen regular people do it. And I've seen regular people course correct, even in their 50s, and achieve what they've wanted to achieve. It is doable. It's a decision point you have to make.
yeah,
So, in many ways, you have to clear the mental clutter and decide what's important and what isn't. And if this really is important, you can do it.
yeah, that's good. So, just break down what a financial planner is, what a certified financial planner is for all of the, people in the back.
Okay, so here's the thing. There's a lot of people that are financial advisors. Financial advisors means that you've passed certain exams and you're registered with the federal government and with the state governments to actually provide financial advice. But usually that involves investments. So you have to have money and investments to be able to access most financial advisors or planners. It's not worth it for people to hire an advisor unless you really truly have the money already to do it. The question is,
Mm.
how do you build up the money and how do you build up those investments to get to that point?
Ah,
Now, a certified financial planner is someone who goes back and gets some additional training and goes through a series of other exams and background checks. And the idea behind that is that it's more of an integrated look. We take, I hate the word holistic because it's overused, but we're supposed to take that big picture. And what I do for people is I say, okay, here's the whole big system that affects you on your finances or how your money affects your life, because you work to make money to live. You don't live to make money through work, if that makes sense. So the
mhm.
money is really just a set of tools in your hands, and the question is, what do you want to build, and who are you building it for? And so it's a big question of what is your why, who is your why, and how badly do you want it, and what are you willing to do to get it? So what I typically do is I stand back and I say, tell me everything that's important to you, and let's figure out how to get from where you are. Let's look at where you are
Yeah,
realistically. And sometimes that means we embrace the suck, we embrace the pain, and then we say,
yeah,
okay, how do we get there? And how do we use the system whether it's the retirement system, whether it's different issues that we need to deal with. How do we get you there? And then also, how do we address the things that keep you up at night? What is it that scares you? And how do we work so that we manage that and we mitigate that? And
Mhm.
so that's what I do. But in the academy is my recognition that a couple of things are happening. How you manage money is a reflection of what's going on inside of you, the
Mm.
emotions, and your knowledge base. Okay. So to address and get you to where you want to go, as opposed to where you are going through drift because you're not doing what you need to do, whatever it is. Um, in order to do that, we need to address with the emotional issues with the money. And then we also
Mhm.
need to address understanding the system so that you can make good decisions. The reality is the power needs to be in your hands. And in order for it to be in your hands, you need to understand the system enough to be able to be the captain of your own ship, to hire and fire as necessary, and to make final decisions that are good for you, that you're comfortable with. So the academy is my effort and my firm's effort behind me to actually help address that problem, to help people who are making good money, who are doing well in their lives, but for some reason, many reasons, didn't learn the system. And by the way, the one thing I want people to know is that the financial system has been complicated and people have not known how to navigate it and make it work for them for about 5 generations. You are not alone. This is no one's fault at this point. Okay, don't feel guilty. This is not about guilt. Literally, truly. What happened in the past happened in the past. Today is a new day. The question is, what do you want to do with it? And what do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
And so my whole point is you can learn this, but I realize, like, have you ever, well, the research shows that if we don't address some of the psychological issues around identity and money, all the education in the world is never going to be implemented.
Yeah.
And so for me, belief is not enough. For me, knowledge is not enough. It's do something with it. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Absolutely. You got to put it into action. I'm all about action.
Yep.
You talked about self awareness and you talked about action, and those are two big things that I focus on when I'm working with clients. You got to be
Hmm.
self aware of where you are in order to get to where you want to go. And then you got to put some action behind that thing, right? So,
Yeah.
what is the biggest misconception that people have about building financial wealth and financial stability?
The reality is stability and wealth are two different things.
Mm,
Okay. And so they don't understand, first off, that income is not wealth. We'll start off with that basic thing. So you make money, that's great. But if you don't do something with it and make it work for you, you're not building wealth.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The
Gotcha.
second thing is that stability is based on a couple of different things. One, you need to have some defenses around you. So, for example, if you need to work to live and you're working for somebody else, you need to have, if you can't pay your bills without that income, you need to have a viable plan for what would happen if you didn't have that income. So, for example, it's just something silly. One of the things I say to people when they first go out into the workforce is, okay, if you need your paycheck to eat and have a roof over your head, I need you to realize something. One, you have a 70% chance of having something happen through no fault of your own where you won't be able to work for a health reason. Okay. Or an injury reason. And so I need you, if your employer offers it, to get disability insurance. Why?
Mm,
Because that'll replace your income on an after tax basis. So what you need to do at that point is to concentrate on getting better instead of worrying all about the money.
mhm,
So
mhm.
that gives you time and space to figure that out. And I've seen that. I've seen that happen and it makes a huge difference. The second thing you need to do is you need to take ownership of your debt and you need to take ownership of your emergency fund. But doing that really takes a step back. You've got to get calm and a little bit more clear about who you are. Getting organized financially is one of those key things. And what it will do is it'll force you to see what's really going on. And I think some of the reasons why people don't do it is because they're afraid to actually confront what's going on.
Mm,
Because once it's organized, it's pretty obvious.
mm, yeah. Yeah, you gotta be able to see what's going on. Uh, when you talk about, the idea that motivation fades but systems last, Why are systems more powerful than motivation when it comes to managing your money or even creating that long-term financial stability that you were just talking about?
Because when things get hard, you've got to have the systems there that are going to bolster you. Okay.
Mhm.
So, for example, if I'm stressed out and I go and I have chocolate ice cream, that may feel good in the moment, but that's
Absolutely.
not good for me long term.
Yeah.
And, people talk about retail therapy all the time.
Don't talk about that, Monica. Don't even bring it up. Okay. No.
Look, I understand there are times when you want to actually treat yourself. I understand when you want to give yourself a reward. I am not immune. I'm a human being too. I get it. Okay. But there are times when you have to stop and say, am I buying this because I need it? Am I buying this because I want it? Or am I buying it because I want that dopamine hit because I'm under stress? That's not the reason to buy it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Okay.
you kind of preach to the choir because I am like, oh, so I can go so far down a rabbit hole with that one. One of the big things that I recently talked about is I have clients that um think that just because it's on sale,
Right.
right, they're benefiting from it. Or one client, she donates to the Goodwill, but she also goes in and buy. Right. So you're
Yes.
exchanging the clutter, right? You're not really benefiting the cause. So I totally get it. And it's just,
I'm trying to clear the clutter too on a lot of levels, and I've been cleaning out different things and getting rid of certain things. And it's because,
mhm.
there's this old phrase: you either manage your things or they manage you. My stepfather just died after he 94 years old.
Mm,
Wonderful human being. And my mom and my stepfather had moved into senior living about 8 months ago.
okay.
Okay. And he did this for a lot of reasons, but he pushed for it. He pulled the plug, he insisted, and they moved. And the hardest thing was for my mother to downsize from where she was to where she is now. And she went
Yeah.
from, I'm not sure how many square feet, but she lost at least half of her square footage when she moved into her 2-bedroom unit. And it's a nice, nice unit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But she doesn't have the bookshelf. She doesn't have all the space. She doesn't have the
Yeah.
storage. So she had to get rid of a lot of things. And those things were very difficult. My mom grew up with nothing.
Yeah.
And she was born at the tail end of the Great Depression. Her
Yeah.
parents, all the money went towards my uncle because he was the boy.
Mm-hmm.
And so she got her first job between second and third grade. And she couldn't
Mm,
afford to own her own books. So her one of her most important possessions was her library card.
yeah.
And so when she got to the point where she could start buying books, she built out her library, and she had this little plate with glue in the back where she would wet it down and put it in whenever she bought a new book. And it was from the library of my mother. And I looked at that and I'm like, okay. And when I knew that she was moving, I was like, all right, losing those books is going to be very painful to her, because those books were a sign that she had left behind what
Yeah.
had happened when she was a child. And it's a very difficult thing. We invest too much of ourselves and our identity into our things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's a problem. And that's something that actually impedes wealth. When you think money is what you wear or what people can see, wealth is not
Mm,
that. Wealth whispers. Wealth is not flashy.
love
Okay?
whispers. I love that.
Wealth whispers. So, I've known countless people, and it's called wealth status, all right, where they believe that they have to wear certain things and look a certain way to be acceptable with certain groups of people. And
Yes.
my response is people who have money usually aren't looking for approval. They dress appropriately, they dress beautifully, but they're not the ones wearing the logos.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
They
And so
wanna
there's
they wanna keep their money. They're not spending it all on some flashy clothes.
Right, and if they buy good clothes, which they do, you don't see the logo out front. So
Yeah.
70% of the luxury items in the United States are bought by people who are middle class and below. They're not
Mhm.
bought by that. Now, here's the thing, I look at it from a different perspective, and I think this is a healthier way. You say, what's the useful life of it? I don't like disposable anything. I don't buy disposable anything except for flowers. Okay. I wish they lasted forever, but they don't. I like the real stuff.
You're right.
So the point is, I like knowing that I have a useful life on it. And I try to buy quality, the best quality that I can for whatever it is I'm buying.
Yeah.
And I buy it and I try to treat it well so that I have it for an extended period of time. I would rather have that than have something that's disposable. So you don't see the disposable clothing. All right, that drives me wild. It's not just the environmental thing, it's like it's a waste.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a waste. And that's been one of the biggest challenges. You just said so much. And one of the biggest things, and I'm going to have one of my specialists, she's a professional organizer and she works with seniors
Mhm.
to have that conversation and how to help our seniors kind of overcome some of those hurdles. Well, help the children of the seniors because ultimately we're the ones that have to help them, right? Because they're not
Mhm.
finna listen to a podcast. They're not gonna be on YouTube listening to this. But the conversation around that is that ultimately we are going to have to deal with the things that they leave behind. So not
Yes.
only dealing with the emotional aspect of I just lost my mother, now I have to lose her again when I have to deal with all the things that she left and I don't know what to do with them. And I
Yeah.
think my identity, like you were talking about, is tied to all the things that she left behind. Like it's a huge conversation that needs to be had on a continual basis because we don't know what to do with the things that our parents leave behind for us and just in general.
Well, that's part of it. And then, I got hired by this one client about a year and a half ago, and what she wanted me to do was to come in and organize things. So most Americans have accounts all over the place. They have things scattered everywhere financially. And her estate lawyer said that I was cheaper per hour than having him do it and organize everything and
Mm,
consolidate it. But also to come up with a viable financial plan where she knew, because um she was the primary earner in the family. He works and does well, but she was a little bit of a superstar. And
yeah.
what she wanted was to make sure that he was organized and prepared for when she wasn't going to be here. And she
Hmm.
had had cancer for a very long time and had fought it and knew that she wasn't unfortunately going to win the battle anymore. And so she wanted it organized. And so I came in and we organized all of this and consolidated everything down. That was an amazing gift that she insisted that she give to him. Okay, she
Hmm.
was the one who
Hmm.
insisted it, and it made his life easier because he didn't have to figure all that out on his own.
Yeah.
And I wish more people would do that. And in fact, one of the things that I do is if people reach out to me and they need that, I will do that, and I do not charge probably what I should. Why? Because if we can do this ahead of time and make
Yes.
life easier for everybody, that's a huge gift that you can give to your family.
Hmm.
Okay? And it
Hmm.
makes things easier. The other thing that I say to people, and I had this conversation with my family about a year and a half ago. Okay. And I had this conversation with my mom and my stepfather about 15, 16 months ago. And it was, getting things done. My stepfather wanted to know why we needed to get things organized and why he needed to update the documents. Well, first of all, his documents with my mother were written when they got married in 1987. So I was 17. And in that document, it referred to their minor children, me, Monica. Okay. I'm not a
Hmm.
minor anymore. So that was number one. The second thing was that attorney was no longer with us. Third, and I said this, it's like, this is all about control. All right. I'm not after your money. None of the family is after your money. Okay. What we know is that the money has to be there for the two of you to take care of yourselves the way you want to be taken
Hmm.
care of. Okay. But what this is about is let's stop the fighting. Let's be crystal clear about what you want. Let's put this in a framework so that it's not up for debate. Tell us exactly what you want. And he asked me what I wanted. I said, I want this to be so crystal clear because my stepfather came in with two daughters from his first marriage, and my mom came in with four of us, and they were determined to treat us all equally. I wanted this to be so crystal clear that there was no debate. And if I had had my druthers, it would have been so crystal clear across the board, not just about the medical issues, not just about the financial issues,
Right.
about care issues, and also about stupid things like funerals.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted this to be so simple that it was like paint by the numbers. We're just going to execute on what they told us to do.
Yeah.
So that
Absolutely.
it was not a debate. And that's the biggest gift you can give to people, where people aren't fighting at the funeral home, where people aren't upset, where people aren't offended. List
Yeah.
out all the jewelry, who gets what, why?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
there's no debating. List out who gets grandma's china, list out who gets grandma's silver, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's not just the financial pieces. Most of the battles, according to the estate lawyers, happen over the collectibles, the
The
family
thing.
heirlooms. And I'm like, you're going to let things get away. And parents seem to think, my mother and my stepfather did too. You guys need to stop fighting. You need to work us out. Nobody stops fighting. When
No.
people are under pressure and grief stricken, is not when you're going to expect them rationally to stop fighting.
No, you need to work it out before you leave here. I need you to work it out.
Yeah, and like ideally, what I love is when I hear stories from people when they turn around and they sit down with the grandkids and they say, "Is there something here in this house that you have a particular affection for, that reminds you of something, that gives you a good memory? What is it? Why? So that
Yeah.
I can make sure that I
That
leave
you
it
get that.
for
Yeah.
you." Okay,
Yeah.
it's and I said this, and my mother was so emotionally attached to her stuff, she couldn't do that. So when it came time to move, it was just too overwhelming for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very difficult. People don't understand this unless they've been around this block 3, 4, 5 times to understand what this can look like. The other thing that happens is when you have blended families on the medical stuff, I, I've seen more cases than I want to admit where the lack of communication and where the adult children from one spouse who may be dying or may be ill interfere with the medical decisions and the care of the step spouse, and they get in the way of the spouse. And like, I'll give you an example. My mom and my stepfather were married for 38 years
Yeah.
and they loved each other. They may have fought, they may have had issues, but they loved each other and were in love with each other for all of those 38 years. Okay. The idea of people not getting along, let's say, and my stepfather unfortunately is no longer with us. It, I hate to say it like this, but I'm going to. It's like, I didn't want there to be something that my mother wanted to have done or not wanted to have done, and had there been a battle between my mother and my stepsisters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And thank God there wasn't. There really
Right.
wasn't. But I've seen it and I
Yes.
wanted desperately to avoid it.
To
And it's sort of
protect
like,
it.
right.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, look, you know what? If your spouse is the person who matters the most to you right now in the world, protect them.
Yeah.
Protect him or her, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And for your kids, the best thing you can do to make sure that they're not fighting over anything is to do this equitably and lay it out.
Plan.
Plan, be open, be honest, be
Mm-hmm.
proactive so
Yes.
that you take the battle out of the conversation. And
Yes.
people look at me and they're
Absolutely.
like, but no, I don't want to deal with the fact that I'm going to die. Well, there's one death per person. I'm sorry.
Right.
Sorry. Not really,
Oh
but
my goodness.
no,
One
it's
per person.
the way I look at it is the more organized you are, the more open you are, and the more put together you are, the less drama everybody has along the way.
I believe that. I agree. So, Monica, you say that money is just simply a tool,
Right,
and what we do with it, right? It reflects what's happening internally. We kind of talked about that at the beginning.
right.
So, how does our mindset, our emotional regulation influence the way that we manage our finances?
Okay, so the mindset and the regulation are two different things.
Okay.
Okay. But the psychologists have come up with 4 archetypes for mental identity. So, according to the psychology, your personality is established, imprinted on you beyond what is genetic. It is shaped and imprinted on you by the time you're 6. And unless you shape that and work at that and develop it and mold it and utilize it to go in a different direction, that's where you are. When it comes to money and success, we have an identity that is given to us by age 6, and it usually is based on the perceptions and the beliefs of the people around us. It may not suit us. It may not reflect us at all. May
Yeah.
not reflect us at all. Okay. So, what does that mean? It means that, according to the psychologists, there's 4 major ones in the US: money vigilance, money anxiety, money fear or avoidance, money
Mm-hmm.
status, and money worship. So there are people who literally see money, they worship money, and they believe that money is a sign that God favors them. And I'm like,
Mm.
okay, that's a twisted perception of the
Yeah.
spiritual
Yeah.
ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Every one of these archetypes have kernels of truth and reflect real reality, but they get warped and they get twisted the further away from that kernel they become.
Absolutely.
And very few people have just one of the archetypes operating at different times. So we know those things. Now, emotional regulation is the ability to not react, to slow it down a little bit, and regardless of the stress, to not necessarily react, to notice the emotion, name it, and say, okay, this is like, conceptually, this is like a cloud passing through the sky. I see it, I name it, but it's passing through. What is it telling me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, emotions don't have to be truth. They're just emotions. They're signals. They're signals that there's something you need to pay attention to. So if
Okay.
there's a thundercloud, I need to pay attention to the fact that there's a thundercloud. There may actually be an electrical storm, but that doesn't mean it's always going to be there. And that doesn't mean I'm the thunderstorm. Okay. That
Yes.
rain affects me temporarily, but it's not me. And so what we have to understand is we have to slow that down. Emotional regulation is one of those key things that is a determinant of success in anything you do. The ability to show up for yourself day in and day out is the key determinant of success. You show up when it's hard, you show up when it's easy. You show up when
Mm.
you have motivation and you have enough systems that propel you forward to show up when it's hard. That is going to lead to the consistency of efforts and allow for growth and for the building of wealth. Period. The end. You save
Mm.
money even when it's hard, you save money when it's easy.
Yes. Ah.
Okay. And that's one of those things that we have to deal with. Now, the identity pieces that come from those archetypes affect us. They affect how much we charge. Do we undervalue ourselves? Do we aggressively market ourselves? Do we take on new things? Do we learn new things? Or do we believe we can't? Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
all of those things are imprinted by age 6. Now, you are not a potted plant. You are not stuck. You don't have to stay with that. You can look at
Right.
that and lovingly tell the 6-year-old, hey, I got this. You're no longer in charge. Please step aside. Okay.
Mm.
I need the 6-year-old to sit on the sidelines and for the adult you to take ownership. I need you to love yourself today, to take care of yourself today and future self. And once you value future you as much as you value today's you, it becomes a heck of a lot easier for you to start putting you as a future, as a priority. Learn the
Mm-hmm.
new skill, develop the new talent, go after the business, but also put money away and transition the money from income into wealth so that
Yeah.
you can live the way you want to.
Mm. Yeah. Love that. So we're gonna switch gears just for a few minutes and we're gonna flip the mic, Monica. So
Okay.
this is a point where you get to ask me a question about organization, about systems and the
Mhm.
organized life, or about podcasting or anything that you would like to know.
Okay, so first of all, I do intend to do my own podcast. So I'm hoping that you will be a guest on mine.
I would
Um,
love to.
okay, so thank you for that. I'm about to do that. That's part of the reason why I bought the new mic. Well,
Yes.
and I'm glad the sound is good. But the next
Yeah.
thing that I want to ask you about, or the most important thing is, when you see people who are not financially organized, what do you think is the biggest block that they have? What has been your experience with that?
I think it's a lack of education.
Okay.
And our family dynamics. Like we haven't been taught to manage finances in a specific way or what to do with how to create wealth. So I look at it as like a generational thing in
Mhm.
family. And also inside of that, there's a lack of education. There's a level of ignorance that we operate in.
Yep.
We don't know what to do. We don't know how to make it happen or be financially wise. We're kind of just flying by the seat of our pants. So I think that that's probably the biggest thing. It's a lack of learning, our ignorance, and then it's almost the ignorance has been handed down to us.
What do you think would be the one thing if someone could give it to them? What do you think that one thing that would make a difference? What would that one thing be?
Um, I want to say the education piece, but inside of that, uh, some way for them to see that the hope that they can be different.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
inside of that hope, inside of that faith of I can do something different. I can
I don't
be
have to
something
stay like
different.
this.
I
I
don't
don't
have
have
to
to stay
stay
here.
like this.
Yeah.
Then they want to get the education. They want to do it differently. They reach out for learning. So I think it's an internal thing, mindset, hope, faith, that I can be and do something different.
Okay. What was your hardest organizing challenge you faced with a client?
Um, It was actually dealing with a person who had lost a loved one and had a lot of things.
Okay. So
They
giving up all of that stuff was giving up tangible reminders of the person they loved.
Yeah, challenging because the father, the husband had lost his parents, and the wife had recently lost her parents, or one of
Oh God.
like so they had a house full of like three homes in one. And so, trying to navigate that is extremely challenging because our stuff that we have now, we like it, because that's why we bought it. But our parents' stuff is more antiquish. It has more weight. It's more sturdy. And it has a lot of our emotions attached to it.
Mhm.
And just because it was theirs, and so it's like helping them process that. Sometimes it takes another level of therapy and counseling to get to the other side of that.
Yeah, it's there's I really think people believe they're more rational than they are. I
Yes.
think we there are a lot of emotional cues that sort of move us in certain directions, whether we're aware of it or not. I'm hyper analytical and I see myself and I'm like, that's an emotional reaction.
Mm,
Okay. Everybody is. And I look at this and I'm like, all right, you know what? We all have emotional cues and we all have things that move us or trigger us. I hate that word, but you get the idea.
yes.
So yeah, and the physical tangible reminders are tangible reminders. There are things that, physically, like I see them and they remind me of my stepfather. I see them, they
Yeah.
remind me of my father.
You could see them, you could smell them, you can touch them.
Yeah.
It's so many things that triggers you,
Smell
right?
is probably supposedly the most powerful cue to your
Yes.
subconscious.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those were great questions. So we're going to switch back over, and I'm going to interview you again. All
Okay.
right, Monica. So many high performing women, we look successful on paper, but we feel a little bit overwhelmed behind the scenes. What are some hidden financial stressors that contribute to that mental load?
Okay. So some of it's not even hidden at all. And part of my podcast is literally going to be about not necessarily the financial pieces. It's about looking at what's real versus what we've been told. Like, oh, you can have it all. No, you can't. You have a
Ah,
limited number of hours in the day. You have a limited amount
yes.
of energy. And if you don't take care of you, you really can't pour from an empty cup. So, what's the priority? But let's talk about one of the things, and this is near and dear to my heart. Um, Caring for elderly parents. Now, my mom is in Cleveland. I don't live there. I live in Texas. But, dealing with some of those things, and even, I don't live there, so my sister's carrying the lion's share of that.
Mm-hmm.
But still, this morning, early in the morning, I was on the phone with my mom saying, "Okay, mom, I need you to take your meds today. Okay, please take your meds. Okay, they're here. I've done half of them. Okay, mom, I'm on the phone with you. While I talk to you, why don't you finish this off?" Okay. And the strength and the burden of having to take care of your parents as they age.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to
Mm-hmm.
take care of them financially, even if you don't take care of them financially, losing bandwidth because you're taking the time to do it. Okay. And time away from work and time away from career and time away from family. That's one thing. At the same time, okay, when you have children, you've got the children on the one hand versus the parents on the other. So you've got that sandwich thing going on. The
Yeah.
other thing that's happening is you have to think about the money piece, and no one should care more about your financial outcome than you. No one can care more than you can. Okay. So this is something that a lot of women are like, no, I'm not going to handle it. Somebody else will handle it for me. I was told I'm not good at this. Really? Okay.
Mm.
So maybe you were told you weren't good at something when you were 6. Does that mean you stopped doing it?
Right.
Okay. Did somebody say to you, you're not good at math, so you don't get to do algebra? No, you still had to go to algebra in high school. Okay. As much as you've been, might have been like, okay, I don't want to do this. Well, tough bananas. So you went. Okay. The fact of the matter is, you can do this. There's no reason why you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And, depending on somebody else, put you in a position of extreme vulnerability. If you're not the person that would allow that in any other area of your life, why are you doing it here?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's that bandwidth issue. There's that taking ownership issue. And
Yeah.
some of those things are out there. There's a lot of stuff that we've told ourselves, people are like, oh, well, do what feels right. Well, if I only do what feels right, that doesn't mean I'm doing the right things for me when things are hard. And if
Yeah.
I really want to show up for myself, I have to show up for myself when it's hard and when it isn't. And as much
Mm.
as I hate that, just like everybody else, if I want the results, I'm gonna have to, like, I didn't want to go to the gym this morning. I'm gonna freely admit that. I
Yeah.
don't enjoy being in the gym. I enjoy how I feel after I'm in the gym.
Right.
And I think that makes me normal. I don't think that
Yeah.
makes me different.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the biggest thing that I say to people, and I mean this, is think about yourself and your physical fitness and training. So I heard this one trainer from iFit just talk about it being like a 4-stage process: function, health, fitness, performance. Everything has to function together. If things aren't working properly, you're in that function stage. You've got to get things to work. Then you go over to health, where things are working together. Then you get to fitness. And fitness is your ability to carry the load. So if your fitness level is that you can walk half a mile, that's the load you can carry. Financially, it's the same thing. What's the financial fitness load that you're at? Okay. And
Mm.
performance is when you can go beyond your mandatory or your minimum load. And as you progress, you move up and up that thing. But also when you have setbacks, you go down, you slide around. And that, when I look at it and I say, okay, let's put this in the physical realm first, your body, and you can process it and see it there. It's the same system, it's the same thinking, just put to your money. And one of the things that I've realized is that once you embrace radical self ownership, once you embrace that sense of self and you're going to take ownership of it in one area of your life, if you allow yourself to, it'll flow to all the other areas of your life.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's part of the reason why I'm at the gym, even though I don't want to be, because I can't let it go.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. So, Monica, you talk about helping people to create the dashboard, right? To
Right.
manage their financial lives. What does a financial dashboard look like, and why is it so powerful for reducing the stress and improving decision making?
Well, one, you can see what's going on. So what I do is I connect people to eMoney Advisor, which is run and owned by Fidelity. One, because it's Fidelity treats it like a fiduciary, and so they do their best to not allow outsiders to have access to any of the information. They don't sell the material. So, like, if you have a loan or a mortgage on there, you're not all of a sudden going to get solicited. Okay. And they do their best to maintain the privacy of that and the integrity of that. The second thing that I like about it is you can see everything. So if you
Mhm.
have retirement accounts, or if you have a 401k, you can attach it to that and you can see what's going on.
Mm.
What it does is it gives you a dashboard where you can see everything that's going on at once. Now, you can do that with other software, and there are certainly other things. I like the professional ones a little bit better because they have a little bit better security, but your security is also a function of your behavior with your computers.
Mm.
So, that's one of those things. You have to take ownership of your identity and of your financial identity. That's something that I really stress really, really heavily.
Yeah.
But the other piece is when I do this, you can flip a switch and see across all of your accounts where your spending is going. So one of the things I'll do with people is when they come into my program, when they come into the program, I'm like, all right, there's no sales here. There's no pitch. We're going to connect everything. You're going to get the dashboard. You need to connect everything. And then I want you to let it run. Why? We build out the defenses. We start working on the mindset pieces and help you learn how to shift those things in a healthy way. And while it's running, after about 8 weeks, we flip the switch and you can see exactly what you're doing.
Mm.
Before you flip the switch and see everything, what I want you to do is across different categories, tell me where you think how much is going and what percentage of your income is going there.
Mm.
And usually they're really shocked at the differences. But when you do
Yeah.
that, what that does is it gives you room to say, hey, you know what? I'm spending this much on restaurants. If I scale back on that, I can pay down the debt faster.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm spending this much in this area. If I scale back on that, I can create the emergency fund with that and I can move
Mhm.
faster at that.
Yeah.
And so it gives you the ability to start seeing the trade offs.
Yeah. That's a really good segue into my next question because a lot of people we plan to get financially organized but never do. We don't move into consistency, right?
Right.
So, what helps someone make the identity shift from "I should do this someday" to "This is how I'm going to operate now"?
You have to work on the emotional pieces first and say, why is it that I haven't done it? What's the fear? What's the block that's holding me?
Mhm.
What are the
Mhm.
blocks? Okay. So, one of the things I do with my people, and it's free, is we do a 5-day sprint, 5 minutes a day, 5 days, where you're going to go through the different archetypes and you see where it multiplies across. And the intention is just see it. 5 minutes, see it. Don't do anything with it. Just sit with it and see it. And then the question is, where do you go with that? And that's a little bit of a workshop. Again, right now that's free, where you can turn around and see where you're going. So,
Mhm.
first thing is to acknowledge the problem. And then the second thing is to understand where it comes from and start making that mental shift. But one of the things I'll have people do, and this is based on something that a client told me a while ago, was
Okay.
they had every day, they got up every morning and they created a habit where every morning the first thing they did was they flipped open the computer and they checked their bank account. What bills were going out, what money was coming in
Mm.
every single day. And what it did, he said, was it stopped the compulsive spending.
Mm.
And he repaired his credit, paid everything off, got everything under control. And that's how he did that. Now, once he did that, he scaled it back. So he was only doing it 2, 3 times a week. But for him, that was the habit that he needed. So it's a question of where do you think this is going to work with you, your personality, and your life and your obligations? One of the things I do is I have these dry erase boards, and they're in the grid of a calendar. So, and I have to update mine. I haven't done it for the month of March, it's now the 9th, which is a problem. But I will turn around and I will have on there the things that need to get done professionally and then the things that need to get done personally. And frequently those are financial. And so I'll see, hey, this bill goes out on this day. Hey, this goes out on this day. And this is how much it is.
Mm. Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I am like that too. I'm still kind of, I won't say old school because it's not necessarily old school, but I still use Excel doc to do my budget.
Perfect.
Uh, and so I like to see the things and I have created my own and it's super fancy and I love it. It's color coded with
Perfect.
yeah, I love it. It took me a long time to not a long time to create it, but to get to this point because it was just I was growing how I was doing my budget and how I was doing things. So, yeah, I love that. So that's great.
You have to see and make it work for you. So for you, it's Excel. For me, yeah, I see it on the system, but I also love to see it on the wall because when I get up in the morning and I walk past it, I see it.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. And
absolutely.
it catches my attention.
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
Okay. But everybody, you have to deal with how your mind works and what's going to cue you. Right outside my bedroom, I have a wall that I call it my command post that I see those things.
Mhm, mhm.
And, everybody has, you've got to figure out what works for you and what's going to actually help you get there. I mean, I don't
To move
normally
the
tell,
needle.
yeah, it's,
Mhm.
don't try to do it all at once. Atomic Habits describes the cycling team from Great Britain. And I see you smiling. I hope you know the book.
No,
But
I don't, but keep
okay,
going.
not my book, but I love it. And he talked about the cycling team from Great Britain that really desperately wanted to win the Tour de France. And they were in the middle of the pack, had been in the middle of the pack forever. And they said, all right, instead of trying to do anything grandiose, we're going to do small changes at the periphery, 1% here, half a percent here, 3%. And what happened was they attacked everything from the pillows you used to the way you slept to the food to the seat on the bicycle. Anything and everything was up for review. And the goal was to rack up 1%, half a percent here, here, and here. They wound up winning the Tour de France a few years earlier than planned. And it
Mm,
was because they compounded all these small changes and all these small increases and improvements, and it just ramped up and multiplied like that. And you can say that about compound interest, but I like this. It's like, all right, so if I were to clean 5% of my office each day, like clean it up beyond just standard,
yeah.
how much faster would I get organized? And
And
it's not
that's why I was smiling because you said you don't have to do it all at once,
right.
right? Because people try to
No.
organize their whole house in one day, and it's like it's unrealistic. You're gonna get overwhelmed, and you're gonna be defeated because it's not gonna happen.
Right. And then yeah, and here's the other piece of this. Like I look at things and I'm like, all right, if I do it bit by bit by bit, one,
Hmm.
I've got skin in the game and I'm doing it. And two, I can see the improvement through time, but I'm not going to become overwhelmed. Why is my program done in 5-minute bits per day? It has to fit into your life. It can't take it over your life. You can't let the
Gotcha.
organizing of your life take over your life.
Yeah,
Okay. It has
absolutely.
to work for you.
It has to
That's why
work for
you
you.
hire an expert like you. It's you have to make a system that works for you and that supports you, not for the days when you're super motivated, but for the days when, quite frankly, like every human being, you're not. It's been a hard day, you don't feel good, whatever. You still need the system to support you. You
Yeah.
don't default to your lowest motivation, you default to your weakest system.
Ooh, say that again for the people in the back.
You don't default to your lowest motivation. You default down to your weakest system.
Oh, that's so good. Love
And
that.
if your systems are weak, you will fall down to that. And also like for those people who own businesses, when you own a business, when it comes to the financial system, if your personal is disorganized and your business is organized, your personal is going to pull down your business. If your personal is organized and your business is a mess, forget it, you're done. Okay?
That's
It's
so
just
good.
it's true. And it's one of those
Yes.
things where I say to people, it's like if you have a business, you have 10x the time. The reason it's not 2 plus, okay? It's literally 10x. The reason to get super, super clear because the business is more complicated. You have to absolutely own your numbers at all times.
Mm, mm,
And it's not fun. It sucks. And it gets in the way of a lot of business owners. But the reality is, it's the reason why a lot of people fail. So don't set yourself up for failure.
mm. That's so good. All right, Monica, before we close, what is the very first step? We're going to go a little bit practical. What is the very first step that a person can take, should take, to start building systems that support the long term freedom?
Okay, so what I want people to do is get super clear about who they are, what they think, and why they do what they do. My
Mhm.
5-day mindset is the sprint is designed to help you do that. But the reality is, you can start with that. It's free, it's easy to do. I really want people to wrap their heads around the idea that really they're in their own way.
Get self-aware.
Yeah. And I have my own awareness points too, and I have my own issues, and there's something I need to deal with after this conversation.
Yes,
None of us are perfect. Perfection
that's
was never the
right.
goal.
It's never the goal.
Right. And so the question is, how do you get started? What small, break it down into a small piece. What small piece would help you get there? So if it's
Mhm.
my sprint, you are welcome to join. Again, there's no cost to it. And you can literally walk down that path and say, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm not doing. Okay. And this is how it's showing up in my life. Okay. And
Mm.
then where do you take it from there? And then, but again, you have to break it into pieces that are manageable for you. And then the other thing is, I want you to forgive whatever happened in the past, sit with it, um, feel the pain, absolutely feel the pain. Okay? Feel the pain, feel how awful it is, embrace it, and then say, hug that cactus. Okay, not my phrase, but hug the cactus, feel every bit of it, and then say,
Yes.
I am never going to hug this cactus again, ever.
Yeah.
Okay, it's no one's fault what happened in the past. It is your fault what happens from today forward. You can do this.
Ah,
I
ah,
will give you a link. If people join the program after doing it because they came in through this link, there's a significant discount to it. I want the reality is it is a pitch free environment. I want you to take a break from people selling you products. I want you to
yeah.
stand back and actually just take care of yourself. And whether you work with me in the future or whether you don't, that's not the point. The point is, I want you to master the system. The reality is, during the shutdown, I saw so many people walk around with financial fear, and I felt it too. And there's no one I hate enough to wish that on. I think we as a country will be freer and healthier and happier the more we actually take ownership of this. And so I'm asking for, I can't solve this for everybody, but if people are willing to meet me halfway, I will go the distance with you to make sure you get there.
Oh, love that. Thank you so much, Monica. And we'll have all that information for you guys in the description and the show notes. So, Monica, would you tell us like any like where we can find you on social media to follow you and all those things? We'll definitely put them in the show notes, but let them hear you tell us.
Okay, so I am going to be starting my new podcast, but the Facebook page for the podcast is called Love Your Life. I literally just put it up. I haven't done any posting on it. You are welcome to join me there. It looks like a blank, empty page. So
Yeah.
I think I have like 15 people signed up on that. I've not done anything with that. I don't do anything else with it on social media. And I will be doing the podcast, which will be on YouTube, and there will be shorts on Instagram. The reason why I don't do a lot on social media is because I am regulated. I'm a fiduciary. I'm director of financial planning of an RIA. So when you're with me in my program, I'm not selling you products. I'm not giving you advice. I'm teaching you the system. That's part of the reason why I'm sort of a blank slate on the social media thing, but people can reach me through the website, harmonywealthacademy.com. They can reach me via email, which you will have, and I do respond to that. So please just send me an email if you have a question. And if you want to talk to me, you want to have a phone call, that's okay. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah. Well, Monica, by the time this drop, hopefully you'll have tons of followers in that group. So,
Well, I
uh,
literally just put it up, and I actually, I mean, there's not going to be any advice in it. It's just going
yeah,
to be about the topics of what's getting in your way.
yeah,
What is, what is the challenge? Where do you feel like you're getting told something that doesn't necessarily serve you? Where do you need to
yeah.
go to level up? I want to see, you know what? There's no reason why my people, I want you guys to level up. I just want you to level up.
Mm-hmm.
A rising
Awesome.
tide lifts all boats. Let's go.
Oh, yes. Monica's given us a lot of good sayings here today, you guys. Thank you so much, Monica, for being here. I really appreciate you and the insight that you brought to the Organized Life listeners. It's been great.
Well, thank you for having me. And I look forward to seeing you on my podcast. And I want to hear more about some of what it takes to get yourself organized and some of the easy ways to think about that and take the stress out of it.
Absolutely. I would love to be there. So I look forward to it. You guys, if you want to, if you have questions for the Organized Life podcast, if you would like to be a guest here on the Organized Life podcast, send us an email at info@extremeaudacity.com. Remember that if whatever strategy or system you're putting in place is not saving you in all four areas, space, time, energy, and money. Tweak it, revisit it, see what you need to change, what's working for you. You want to do more of that. The things that are not working, we want to eliminate some of those things. And also, just some great, exciting news about the Organized Life. We have the Organized Life headquarters coming soon. It will probably be available by the time this drops. So look in the description. We got the Organized Life headquarters that will be having all things Organized Life. We'll have master classes coming up, some workshops, all things. We have some free content, free live events also happening. So I would love to have you guys there. Monica, thank you once again for being here. It was so fun and great having you. And you guys, until next time, ciao.
Take care.